It wasn't as unexpected as their loss to Malawi, but it was a loss at 54-45, their biggest ever losing margin to England, and their second loss of the Commonwealth Games. In short, the Silver Ferns, also known as the national netball team, are up against it on the Gold Coast, reliant on Uganda not beating Scotland by an historic margin in order to progress to the semi-finals. There, they're likely to face Australia, who they've only defeated twice in their last 12 contests. In short, it's not getting any easier for the Silver Ferns. Former Silver Ferns coach and player, of course, Yvonne Willering, spoke to us just after the game.
If you actually take the score out of the equation, it was the best some of the Ferns have played for a while. The whole game had intensity and intercepts were taken, and the ball was played with far more confidence, particularly the in-circle of Whakahakatau and Grant. They got a number of intercepts, so, that hasn't happened in past games. But, in the end, especially in that last quarter, opportunities went begging and we just didn't seize the moment.
And a 73% success rate shooting is not good enough at this level, is it?
Yeah, at times, though, it became the Whakahakatau and the Falau show. I mean, really, Maria took the most pressure in that whole game. Selby Ricketts, really nervous start. I thought that she would start better, didn't. And in the end, they made the substitution with Mess. But the Mess-Falau combination hasn't really worked, and that's why they reverted back to Selby Ricketts. But, Falau certainly took on the most pressure in that shooting role. And, in that last quarter, she missed some goals. But that's not what cost them the game. In that last quarter, they were already down, and it was a situation where they had to play catch-up netball. They had to go for intercepts. They mistimed that at times, and certainly England capitalised on it. And the Hart and Houseby shooting combination certainly made sure of the shots.
So if Falau was playing really well at one end of the court and Whakahakatau was playing extraordinarily at the other end of the court,
Yep.
It was the court in between where we weren't quite on top of things, and I thought a couple of times we looked burdened by the weight of it all.
Yeah, we got to a situation. Also, substitutions were made going into that third quarter. And I held my breath because subs they've had time to settle. And against England, you couldn't give them the opportunities. England wanted to come out and show that in big games they were going to nail it. And in the past, we've been critical of them that when it really counted in competitions where it mattered, they faltered. And they have in the past, World Champs and Commonwealth Games. And they even said after the game, see, we can do it. So you can't afford, to just let a couple of goals slip. And that's how they did it, because at halftime, only 2 goals down, and it was still there for the taking, because I thought we had some great passages of play. Then we had some unforced errors. Unforced errors are the ones where the stepping call's called or the contact's being called, and that's when we had to tidy it up. And England certainly made the most of the opportunities. But they also made mistakes, That's why it was still there for the taking, even going into that last quarter. But really hard to, start pegging it back against the team. And England, they just seemed hungry.
Katrina Grant's post-match interview showed how much this meant. By goodness, she was just devastated. So this is a team that wants to do it. It is a team that, as you're saying, at either end of the court really has the personnel to do it. But is there something going wrong in the message they're getting from the coach? She's won 5 of the last 16 games under her, or is there just a lack of self-belief? What's happening in the head?
Yeah, and that's a hard one to answer because I haven't been at their trainings. I haven't, so we don't know that. Are the players going out on court and sticking to game plans? Like, only they can answer that. Those are the interviews that have to be taken. But, it's a hard one, and she showed emotion, and I don't actually have a problem with that because, the questions were asked, how much do they really want it? Although I hate that question because when you're wearing the fern, obviously you want it, Some of the players are inexperienced in knowing what it takes to actually put in the big wins, and the big wins are in the tough competitions, and I guess they're a little bit inexperienced in that. Not inexperienced as a team because their preparation going into the Com Games, they've played against all the different styles of play, both in the quad series, and the Tiny Jamison, so they can't have any excuses there. But, at the end of the day, are we still looking that mid-court isn't putting the ball through fast enough, isn't doing the work on defence? It's a hard one, but you've got to also give credit to England. They certainly seized their opportunities.
Yes, they did, and I think it's important to remember there are two teams in the game. It's a very good point. England played well, although, as you say, in that last quarter, by golly, both teams were kind of conspiring to blow it, weren't they? One final question. We're so grateful for your time and expertise, but if, as looks likely, the Silver Ferns do go through to face Australia, we are going to have to improve so much. It's a sort of metamorphosis is almost required, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. And, you know, we're looking at this, and Malawi was the thorn on our side, you know. And it's interesting, Malawi came to the party against us because subsequent to that, they only just beat Scotland by 1 goal. So, you know, they really took it to us in that game. But, yeah, the Ferns, you know, they will make the semis. I can't see them not making the semis, you know. But they will see that as an opportunity now. You know, they were so close to not making it. No one wants to make it into a semis, you know, through the demise of someone else, you know, that we're waiting for the results of another game. But if they've been given this opportunity, you know, I say to them, look, you just go out there and make the most of this opportunity. But again, they've got to be very careful that they are performance-focused, you know. I think at stages they became score-focused. In this game, they saw that they were behind. You know, you saw them looking up at the scoreboard, and I'm thinking, just do what you do best, you know. And when they had the passages of good play, it was really neat to watch, you know, but it just wasn't there again for the consistent 50 minutes, and they certainly against Australia or Jamaica. It's going to be an interesting game tonight, Australia-Jamaica, you know, to see who we will be playing. But both those teams are hungry for the gold.
Yvonne Willering talking to us after the game this afternoon. In order for the Silver Ferns to not go through, Uganda have to thrash Scotland. Well, that game is underway as we speak. In fact, we're a wee way into it now. Uganda are ahead, but by nowhere near the margin that would keep the Silver Ferns out. Uganda playing Scotland. Uganda would have to win by, I think, 37 goals to keep the Silver Ferns out.